welcome once again to M5's English language learning program, Let's Speak English. I'm Gav Duncan and I'm here on your TV to help you learn English. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Yes? Good. And are you ready for today's lesson? Yes? Good. Okay, well, let's learn English together. Hello, 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 and not goodbye. No, we're not at the end of the lesson. We're here, Henry, at the very beginning. And so, yes, that's why I said hello. All right, hello. And hello again. Hello and welcome to Friday. Yes, people, I know it and you know it. We all know it. Let's get started. All right, now, let's just resuscitate an idea. You do all remember that verb, don't you? Of course you do. After all, it was only yesterday that we were talking about it. So let's resuscitate that idea. Let's revive what we were thinking about. All right, so the idea of standby, the idea of someone standing by, the idea of someone being on standby. Let's think about our two doctors in the theatre once again for a moment. There they both were, watching the actors on stage, and then all of a sudden, one of the actors collapses on the stage. At first, nobody knows if this is part of the play or not. Slowly, the audience start to realize that this isn't part of the play. This actor isn't acting. This actor is having a heart attack. So, what happens? Well, the play stops. They turn the lights on, and people start asking if there's a doctor in the theatre. And standing up, our two doctors say that they're doctors, and they climb up onto the stage. Okay, well, what next? Well, when they get up on stage, they go over to the actor who's lying on the stage, and they start performing CPR on the actor. Well, rather, one of them does, and the other one stands by. Now, we all know the reasons for them doing or performing CPR on the actor, don't we? Yes, it might make the difference between life and death. People perform CPR to make sure that blood and oxygen continue to move or circulate around the person's body. This way, the organs still get the blood and oxygen they need, and this way, the person is only half dead when the paramedics arrive. What would happen if we didn't perform CPR until the paramedics arrived? Well, if we just sat down and had a cup of tea waiting for the paramedics to arrive, then the blood and oxygen in the person's body would stop. And when that happens, your organs start to shut down. They start to die. So that means that although you can still be revived, although they can still bring you around, although they can still resuscitate you, your organs, your liver, heart, kidneys, brain, all of those things inside you that do very important jobs, they will be damaged. These organs start to die when they don't get oxygen and blood. So, if we don't perform CPR, if we don't keep the blood and oxygen circulating around your body, then when they revive you, your organs might be damaged. And then you have to live with 3/4 of a brain, 2/3 of a liver, 6/7 of a spleen, things like that. So that's why the cardiologist in our story performs CPR until the ambulance arrives. All right, now let's concentrate on the other doctor. What's he doing? Nothing? Well, that's not quite true, is it? He's not performing CPR, true, but it's quite difficult for two people to perform CPR on one person at the same time. There's not too much room. Okay. So we know that this doctor is standing by. This doctor is acting like the TV. It's not turned off, it's waiting to be activated if it's needed. Now, I'm sure you can think of another time when we see this verb, can't you? Yes, that's right. Think about when we fly. Let me tell you what happened to me and Evie last year. We went to London for a weekend, and when we were there, the weather changed. It started to snow. Not a lot of snow. Well, there wasn't a lot of snow in London, but people went bananas! Trains were cancelled, underground trains were cancelled. I still don't understand that. Surely the snow is outside and the train is inside a tunnel, so there shouldn't be a problem, should there? I don't know. All I know is that some underground trains were cancelled because of snow. mad. We were flying home on Sunday, the day when the snow started. We got to the airport in the middle of nowhere, and we saw that there was about 3 centimeters of snow on the ground. I'm not joking. There was so little snow that if you put your foot down, when you lifted your foot up, there was no snow under it. All right, but unfortunately, the British have forgotten about the snow and they panicked. Yes, they went all tonto. They panicked, and guess what they did? You'll never guess, not in a million years, I'll tell you. They shut the airport. Yes, because of 3 centimeters of snow on the runway, they decided that it was dangerous, and they shut the airport. Okay, well no, it wasn't okay. There were thousands of people standing at the airport waiting to fly home to Ireland, France, Italy, Spain, Hungary, Switzerland, Romania, Poland, lots of different countries. And we were all standing there in a big crowd with no information. Nope, nobody told anybody what was going on. It was chaotic. Finally, someone who worked for the airport came out, stood on a chair, and asked us all to go home. Yes, that's what he said. He asked us to go home. We pointed out to him that everyone in the airport wanted to go home. That's why we were at the airport, to fly home. But that didn't make any difference. The airport remained closed. It was horrible. We waited for 6 hours to see if there was a chance of going home. Then we caught the only train back to London because most of the trains had been cancelled because of the 3 centimeters of snow. We found and booked a hotel when we were on the train, walked to the hotel, checked in, went out to get something to eat, and went back to the hotel. Slept for a few hours, got up at 5 a.m, caught another train back to the airport, and started waiting again. There were 3 people working and thousands of people in the queue. It was awful. We waited in the queue all day, from 6 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. That's when we got to the front of the queue. Now, can you all see what the problem was? Yes, our plane had been cancelled the day before. So that means a plane full of people didn't get on the plane. Okay. So logically, that means that the airline should bring 2 planes instead of 1, doesn't it? There are people booked to fly to Budapest on Monday, today, but there are lots of people who were booked to fly yesterday on Sunday, but they couldn't. So that means that we have enough people for 2 planes. We need 2 planes, right? Well, it doesn't matter if that was the logical answer. The airline only sent 1 plane. So now what? Well, now we get to the idea of standby. We were put on standby. We were told to stand by. And we know what this means. We have to be ready. We have to stand by. We have to wait, ready to get on the plane if there's a seat free. So we have to go through security. We have to take off our shoes and walk through the metal detector. We have to go to the gate. And when we get to the gate, we have to wait. After everyone gets onto the plane, they see if there are any free seats, and then the standby passengers can get on. If there aren't any free seats, then you have to wait for the next plane and you can try again. All right, now most people know that normally there are at most a couple of free seats on an aeroplane. When we got to the plane, we found out that we were the last standby passengers. It wasn't only us. There were 4 people in front of us. We were numbers 5 and 6. So it didn't look very good. Things didn't look too positive. We knew that normally there would be a couple of free seats, and that meant that we would have to wait at the airport for the next flight and see if we could get onto that one. Purple predicament, indeed. Well, as things turned out, we were lucky. There were 4 people in front of us, and when everyone had boarded the plane, the woman at the counter told us that there were 4 free places. Damn! But luckily for us, one of the men in front of us had lost his passport in the UK somewhere. So he wanted to fly back to Hungary using his driving license as identification. The woman at the counter didn't know if this was allowed. if this was okay. So she sent someone to ask. And this is where the man's bad luck became our good fortune. He wasn't allowed to travel with just a driver's license, and so he had to stay in the UK until he sorted something out. Okay, one place free, but there are two of us. The man wasn't traveling alone though. He was traveling with his mum. So obviously she too didn't fly. So luckily for us, there were 2 seats available. And we came home. More than 1 day late, but it wasn't important. The important thing was that we made it home. So we were on standby. We were waiting, ready to do something. And that's what we often see with certain jobs too. Doctors are often on standby. They have an agreement with the hospital that says something like, every second weekend you will be on standby. You don't have to come to the hospital, but you have to be ready to rush to the hospital to start work if we call you. The same thing is also true for people who work in embassies. Normally these people work from Monday to Friday, don't they? Yes. The staff at an embassy normally work a standard working week, Monday to Friday. But what happens if something happens to a tourist at the weekend? Where does the tourist go for help? Where? The embassy. But it's the weekend. There's no one there. But someone, a member of staff from the embassy, is on standby. Every weekend, a member of staff from the embassy takes the standby phone home with them, and if this phone rings, then they know that they have to go to the embassy to help someone. Now, obviously, being on standby, standing by, isn't wonderful for the person who's on standby. If you're on standby, then you know that you might have to go to work. This means that you have to be ready all the time. So you can't go to the pub with your friends and have a drink. You might have to go to work, so you can't drink. You can't go to a concert with your friends. You might not hear the phone call. Think about substitutes in football. Before they go onto the pitch to start playing, the coach or manager or someone tells them to start warming up, to start getting ready. After that, when their muscles are warm, what do? Yes, that's right. They stand by, they stand ready, waiting for the referee to say that they can join the game. They're standing by. They've been told to wait until someone gives them permission to do something, or they've been told to wait and prepare for something, like these people. These astronauts in their sun probe.
Stand by. Here we go.
Commence of countdown coming up on computer. Countdown commencing now.
Stand by to release lifting bodies.
Standing by. Height 112,000 feet.
Stand by. All right, so in that scene, we can see that the astronauts aren't waiting for permission to do something, but rather they're being told to get ready for something. Stand by also means be ready. So, if we think about the 2 doctors in the theatre, then which meaning are we using? Yes, when one doctor was performing CPR and the other doctor was standing by, then the second doctor, the one who was standing by, was just waiting, not for permission, but waiting, paying attention to what was going on, waiting, ready in case he is needed. And now, of course, we're getting to the stage of the day when the excitement of Friday is still on standby, but not for very much longer. Yes, people, it's time for us to part. It's time for me to leave you for the weekend. It's time to turn Friday evening on. Hopefully, none of you are on standby this weekend, which means that you'll be able to enjoy your weekend to the maximum without worrying about the phone ringing. Anyway, have as much fun as you can. And if you are on standby, well, also have as much fun as you can. I'm off home, you all know that, and I'm going to have a coffee. And then, well, I don't know. The world is my ostrich, and it's your ostrich too. So, you all know the drill, don't you? Shower, hot water, soap, shampoo, towel, hair gel, or something similar. And then, yes, possibly the most important element, antiperspirant. It's either glad rags and out on the town, or it's something more relaxed and a quiet evening in, or something between the two. Anyway, whatever you get up to, enjoy yourselves. I'll see you all on Monday and we'll catch up with the present perfect. See you all after the weekend. See you later. www.mediaclick.hu. Bye!